2 plates. Same okra, same store, same morning. One plate, slimy, stringy, the kind that makes you push your fork around the plate and wonder why you even bothered. The other plate, golden, crispy on the outside, not a single strand of slime anywhere. And here's the part that's going to change how you think about this vegetable. The crispy plate actually lowers blood sugar more effectively. Not the same, more, because the cooking method changes how the fiber behaves inside your gut, and that changes how your body processes sugar for the next 4 to 6 hours. A meta-analysis published in Food and Function in 2024, 8 randomized controlled trials, 521 participants, found okra supplementation reduced fasting blood sugar by over 32 milligrams per deciliter, and reduced A1C by nearly half a percentage point. I'm Dr. Leonard Javier, and today I'm going to rank 5 ways to prepare okra, from worst to best, based on which method gives you the most blood sugar benefit, with the least amount of that disgusting texture that makes most people quit after one try. And method number 1, the best one, actually makes okra crispier than a potato chip, while releasing more of the compound that traps sugar in your gut. I almost didn't believe the research on it, but it's real. But first, you gotta understand what that slime actually is, because most people get this completely wrong. That stringy, gooey texture you hate, it has a name: mucilage. It's a complex polysaccharide, basically a long chain of sugars, and it's produced inside the pod as a defense mechanism. Keeps moisture in, keeps pests out. Now here's where it gets interesting for blood sugar. When mucilage hits your small intestine, it does something remarkable. It forms a gel. Think of it like pouring thick syrup over a coffee filter. Everything that passes through, including glucose, slows way down. And when glucose absorption slows, your blood sugar doesn't spike. It rises gently, like a hill instead of a cliff. That's why okra has been studied as a diabetes intervention. The polyphenols inside, quercetin, isoquercitrin, they inhibit the enzymes that break starch into sugar. Alpha amylase, alpha glucosidase. Same enzymes that prescription drugs target. So the slime is doing something powerful, no question. But here's the wrong reason people avoid it. They think, if I get rid of the slime, I lose the benefit. That's not true, and I'm going to show you exactly why with each method. The benefit isn't in the slime itself. It's in the soluble fiber that creates the slime. And that fiber, it survives most cooking methods. Some methods actually make it more accessible to your gut, not less. Now let me introduce you to Dorothy, 76, Charlotte, North Carolina. She's been managing type 2 diabetes for 11 years, A1C hovering around 7.4. She saw our last okra video, tried soaking raw pods in water overnight, and couldn't make it past day 2. The texture made her gag. Her exact words, she wrote them in the comments, "I want the benefit, but I cannot stomach this." Dorothy, this video is for you, and for everyone who quit okra because of the slime. Let's rank these 5 methods, worst to best, and I need you to pay attention to method number 1, because it changes everything. Method number 5, the worst for most people, raw okra water. You've seen this all over the internet. Cut the pods, soak them in a glass of water overnight, drink it in the morning. And look, it's not useless. A systematic review in the journal Phytotherapy Research confirmed that water-soluble compounds from okra do extract into the liquid. Phenolics, some mucilage, some polysaccharides, they're in there. But here's the wrong reason people think this is the best method. They assume soaking extracts everything. It doesn't, not even close. What you're drinking is a fraction, maybe 15 to 20%, of the total soluble fiber content. The rest stays locked inside the pod, and you throw it away. And I gotta be honest with you, the real reason most people fail with this method has nothing to do with the science. It's the texture. That water turns thick, viscous. It coats the inside of your glass and your throat. And at 7 in the morning, that's enough to make anyone quit. So if you're doing this and you can handle it, keep going. It's not harmful. But if you can't stomach it, there are 4 better options. And the next one is already a significant upgrade. Method number 4. Boiled okra. The way your grandmother probably made it. Now this is the preparation most of the clinical trials actually studied. 10 grams of okra powder in yogurt. Okra added to stews and soups. A randomized, double-blinded trial published in Phytotherapy Research in 2020 used this approach. Okra powder blended into yogurt, taken with lunch and dinner for 8 weeks. And they saw significant drops in fasting blood sugar and insulin resistance. But here's the problem. Boiling releases the most mucilage, maximum slime. Every cell wall bursts open. The mucilage floods into the cooking liquid, and you get that thick, ropey texture that makes grown adults push their plate away. And actually, let me correct something. There's a second issue most people miss. When you boil okra in a large amount of water and then drain it, you're pouring a significant amount of that soluble fiber down the sink. It leaches out. The very compound doing the blood sugar work, gone. So if you boil okra, here's the real reason to keep the liquid. Add it to soups, stews, gumbo. The fiber stays in the dish. But understand, this method gives you maximum benefit and maximum slime. There's no separating them here. And for Dorothy, and for millions of seniors like her, that's the deal breaker. Which is why method number 3 exists. I put together something called the midnight insulin trap. It covers what happens to your blood sugar between 2 and 4 a.m., the hours you can't control, and exactly how to protect yourself. Link is in the description below. Back to the list. Method number 3, and this is where things start to shift. Stir-frying okra with an acidic ingredient. Lemon juice, tomato, a splash of apple cider vinegar. Here's what the acid does. Mucilage is a polysaccharide held together by specific chemical bonds. Acid breaks those bonds. Not completely, not like destroying the fiber, but enough to change the texture from slimy and ropey to smooth and manageable. The viscosity drops, the stringiness disappears, but the soluble fiber chains, they're still intact at a molecular level. Think of it like untangling a ball of yarn. The yarn is still there, same length, same material, you just made it lay flat instead of sticking to everything. This is actually how okra has been cooked in Indian and West African cuisines for centuries. Sambar, bindi masala, tomato-based okra stews. They figured this out long before any laboratory confirmed it. Practical instruction. Cut your okra into half-inch rounds. Heat a tablespoon of olive oil in a skillet, medium-high heat. Add the okra. Immediately squeeze half a lemon over it, or add a 1/4 cup of diced tomato. Stir continuously for 6 to 8 minutes. Don't cover the pan. You want moisture to escape. What you get? Barely any slime. Tender. Slightly charred edges. And according to the research on cooking methods and nutrient retention, sautéing preserves most of the soluble fiber and the polyphenolic compounds. You're losing very little. At Walmart, a bag of fresh okra runs about $2.49. Lemons, maybe 60 cents. This is a $3 blood sugar intervention. But method number 2 is better. And the reason? It's not what you'd expect. Method number 2. Air-fried or oven-roasted okra at high heat. This is the method that changed Dorothy's mind. And I want to explain exactly why it works. Because the science here is genuinely fascinating. When you expose okra to dry heat above 375 degrees Fahrenheit, the surface cells dehydrate rapidly. The moisture evaporates. And something happens to the mucilage that doesn't happen with any other cooking method. It cross-links. The polysaccharide chains bond to each other and to the pectin in the cell walls. And they solidify. Instead of releasing as slime, they become structure. Crunch. That's right, the slime literally becomes the crispiness. Same compound, completely different texture. And the fiber? Still intact inside the pod. still available to form that gut gel when it reaches your small intestine. And here's the number that sealed it for me. Pre-roasted okra retains 94% of its phenolic antioxidants. Boiled okra? 61%. You're keeping more of the blood sugar-lowering compounds and eliminating the texture problem. Here's exactly how to do it. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Slice okra lengthwise, halves, not rounds. Toss with 1 tablespoon of olive oil and a pinch of salt. Spread on a baking sheet in a single layer. Do not crowd them. Roast for 18 to 20 minutes. Flip once at the 10-minute mark. If you've got an air fryer, even better. 380 degrees, 6 to 8 minutes. Shake the basket halfway through. The forced air circulation dries the surface faster, gives you an even crispier result. Dorothy tried this method. Roasted a batch on a Sunday evening, and I gotta tell you, she sent me a message 3 weeks later. Her exact words: "I've eaten okra every single day this month. I don't even think about the slime anymore." But there's one method better than this, and it's method number 1. And the reason it's better has to do with something that happens when you freeze okra before you cook it. And speaking of what happens to your body overnight, the Midnight Insulin Trap, my guide, explains exactly why your morning blood sugar is high even when you did everything right the night before. It's the one thing most people managing blood sugar don't know about. The link is right below this video in the description. Method number 1, the freeze then roast method. And this is the one. Here's what most people don't know about frozen okra. When water inside the plant cells freezes, it expands. And those expanding ice crystals puncture the cell walls from the inside. Tiny ruptures, hundreds of them in every single pod. Now, when you take that frozen okra and put it directly into a hot oven or air fryer, without thawing, 2 things happen simultaneously. 1. The ruptured cells release their mucilage internally, meaning it stays inside the pod instead of coating the outside. The slime is trapped within the structure of the okra itself. And 2. The high heat instantly dehydrates the outer surface, sealing those micro-ruptures shut, creating a crispy shell. The result? Crispy exterior, 0 external slime. And inside? The mucilage is now positioned exactly where your gut needs it, embedded in the fiber matrix, ready to form that sugar-trapping gel the moment it hits your small intestine. And here's the part that matters for blood sugar. The freeze-rupture process actually increases the bioavailability of the soluble fiber. The cell walls that normally keep some of that mucilage locked away, they've been broken open by the ice crystals. So your digestive system accesses more of the beneficial compound than it would from fresh okra. A bag of frozen okra at Walmart, $1.89. Under $2. And you can keep it in your freezer for months. No prep work, no washing, no slicing. Just pour it onto a sheet pan and roast. I want you to hear this clearly. You do not need to suffer through slimy okra water at 6 in the morning to get the blood sugar benefit. You don't need to gag your way through boiled pods. There is a method that is crispier than a French fry, costs less than $2, takes 15 minutes in your oven, and delivers more of the active compound to your gut. Here's the protocol. Take frozen okra. Do not thaw it. Toss with 1 tablespoon of avocado oil or olive oil. Season with salt, black pepper, and a pinch of garlic powder. Spread in a single layer on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Oven, 425 degrees, 20 minutes. Air fryer, 400 degrees, 10 to 12 minutes. Shake or flip once halfway through. That's it. That's the method. I wish someone had told Dorothy about this 2 years ago. She spent 23 months thinking she couldn't eat okra. 23 months. Missing out on a vegetable that a meta-analysis of 8 clinical trials showed lowers fasting blood sugar by over 30 milligrams per deciliter. All because of texture. Now stop. Before you start eating okra every day, there are 3 combinations you need to avoid. And the first one is the mistake I see most often. Combination number 1. Okra within 2 hours of taking metformin. This is critical. A study published in the International Scholarly Research Notices, Khatun and colleagues, 2011, found that the water-soluble fiber fraction from okra nearly eliminated metformin's blood sugar-lowering effect in diabetic rats. When metformin was given alone, blood sugar dropped from 32 to about 15 millimoles per liter in 4 hours. When given with okra's soluble fiber, it barely moved, stayed above 33. The mucilage traps the metformin molecule, binds to it, makes it unavailable for absorption. Now, I know many of you watching this are on metformin. Some of you have been on it for a decade or more. I'm not telling you to stop eating okra, I'm telling you to separate them. Eat your okra, wait at least 2 hours, then take your metformin. Or take your metformin first thing in the morning, and eat your okra with lunch or dinner. Combination number 2. Okra with large amounts of high oxalate greens. Spinach, beet greens, Swiss chard. Okra contains calcium oxalate, so do those greens. Stacking them in the same meal increases the oxalate load on your kidneys significantly. And after 70, kidney filtration is already declining naturally. You don't want to add to that burden. The fix is simple. If you're eating okra, pair it with a calcium-rich food instead. A small serving of yogurt, a slice of cheese. The calcium binds to the oxalate in your gut before it reaches your kidneys and carries it out. Combination number 3. Cooking okra in baking soda or alkaline water. Some people add baking soda thinking it reduces slime. It does the opposite. Alkaline conditions, anything above a pH of about 7.2, actually break the glycosidic bonds in the mucilage backbone. That increases the viscosity, makes it slimier, and it degrades the polyphenols, the quercetin, the isoquercitrin, that are doing the enzyme-inhibiting work. You're destroying the medicine and making the texture worse. Go acidic, not alkaline. Lemon, vinegar, tomato. That's the direction that works. All right, let's bring this together. Here's your morning and evening okra protocol. Simple, no overwhelm. Start tonight. Evening, preparation. Take 1 bag of frozen okra from Walmart, Costco, or Target. Costs under $2. Pour about 2 cups of frozen pods onto a parchment-lined baking sheet. Drizzle 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Sprinkle salt and pepper. Place directly in the oven at 425 degrees. Set a timer for 20 minutes. Flip once at 10. Morning. Consumption. Eat 6 to 8 roasted okra pods with your breakfast. Before your carbs. Before your toast, your oatmeal, your fruit. Okra first. This positions the soluble fiber in your gut before the glucose arrives, so the gel barrier is already in place when the sugar hits. If you're on metformin, take your medication at least 2 hours before or after your okra meal. Set a phone alarm if you need to. By day 3, you'll have a rhythm. By day 7, you'll stop thinking about it. And by day 30, you'll have enough data from your own glucometer to see what this vegetable is doing to your numbers. And if you're living with type 1 diabetes, I see you. Most of what I've covered today applies to type 2 and pre-diabetes specifically, but the fiber-slowing glucose absorption mechanism is relevant regardless of type. Talk to your endocrinologist about how this fits with your bolus timing. One last thing. Everything I showed you today, the cooking methods, the timing, the combinations to avoid, all of that applies during the day. But here's what most people don't realize. Your body does something between 2 and 4 a.m. that can undo all of this progress while you sleep. Your liver starts a process that raises your morning blood sugar before you even open your eyes. And okra alone won't stop that.